Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So today's video, as you can tell by the title, and as you can tell by the slide we're going to be talking about who will see the coldest fall temperatures 2020. Now, you may be wondering, who am I that I get to decide who will see the coldest fall temperatures? In fact, I'm not. I'm not deciding who will or who won't. These are just my opinions based on what I will show you, the evidence I've researched and what I've gathered, and what I think the fall will be like. But I take in the Weather Channel's opinions, NOAA's opinions, and I know many people don't agree with theirs. But it's again, this isn't official or professional. I'm a hobbyist, not a meteorologist. So if you're watching this, don't be fooled that yes, you're hearing a younger kid. I'm not a meteorologist. I just like weather videos to make weather videos for you, and you guys seem to like watching them. So if you guys would like to subscribe, consider doing so. If you're a returning viewer, liking the video would be awesome. And otherwise, let's get into this video. So let's start off by looking at what we're going to be talking about. So I'm going to be talking about the ENSO outlook and how that will impact this fall, what's going on in the oceans, really the Pacific Ocean to be particular. We'll also be looking at NOAA's outlook. And now I know many people don't like NOAA, and not many, but I know there's a few people, quite a handful that say that NOAA is really bad, not trustworthy. I like NOAA. They definitely are way more professional than I am. Obviously, they are what you should look towards. But again, their forecasts, I guess, aren't the things that are always right. But really, a winter or fall forecasts are just really hard to get, so they do an excellent job anyways. And I also want to look at the analogs, which are basically just comparing previous winters or falls in this case that had similar patterns, similar features to this year, and seeing how they turned out and comparing it to possibly this upcoming fall. So without further ado, let's start looking at the ENSO. So notice we're looking at the ENSO, and this was updated 9th of July 2020. And right now we are in ENSO neutral, which I'll explain what this all means in just a minute. But what you got to take away from this is that we are basically looking to develop into a La Nina pattern. In September, October, November, December, really into fall and winter, it looks as if we'll develop a La Nina pattern. Now, notice how it says right here, with a La Nina favored beginning in August through October. You may be looking at that and questioning, what do they mean by that? Well, basically what they're saying is that a La Nina may start, as soon as right now, August 2nd, August 1st, or around the Halloween time frame. Whether or not that happens earlier or sooner may pretty greatly impact the outcome of the fall. But with the latest indications, it looks as if the La Nina has been developing pretty nicely, and it seems to be on track with around probably September, the La Nina developing. I would say the middle month of that, the August to October time frame. So with the La Nina most likely occurring, I want to show you. Well, I want to show you the models also. I just want to show you what different models are showing. This is the CFS version 2 forecast, and this is the Nino 3.4 region. And you can see that they're showing, again, a dive into the La Nina. This model group is actually a very, I guess, leaning towards the La Nina. They only have a few models that are in the neutral, and really they quickly take into the La Nina. Now, not all models are like that. You can see this is a CPC model group, and we have different opinions. We have a lot more models in the neutral category, which basically, if you don't know, an El Nino is anything above 0.5, and neutral is anything between 0.5 and negative 0.5, and a La Nina is anything below the 0.5. And you can see that many of these models are taking it, kind of on that border between the neutral and the La Nina. So the El Nino really doesn't seem to be likely this year, or this fall, this winter. It seems like it will be between the neutral and a La Nina, with a favoring towards a borderline or weak La Nina. Now again, with the latest ocean temperatures, as I show you right here, it looks as if we're getting more and more towards a La Nina pattern, and you can see these are the current sea surface temperature anomalies as of August 2nd, which was yesterday, 2020. And what I want to point out is, in case you don't know what ENSO is basically this region right here, this tropical region right here, and it basically, whether or not this is, again, 0.5 degrees below average, so negative 0.5, that's a La Nina. positive 0.5 or higher, that's an El Nino, usually marked by your red or yellow colors, which you could see that are missing. Or in neutral, which we are in right now, kind of an in-between phase. And you can see that we are in an in-between phase, but it's definitely leaning towards the La Nina. We are definitely seeing quite a bit of blue colors, and they're starting to extend all the way into the eastern or into the far western Pacific Ocean, depends on which side you look from. And you can see that we also have this high pressure right here across the Gulf of Alaska, which is actually also pretty good. Well, we don't really have a high pressure, but we have warm waters, which could form a high pressure as the warm air rises. And you could see that if a jet stream were to try to come across, it would have to buckle and then send its air down like this, which would cause a little bit more cold air to get into the northwestern and northern United States than on a typical year. So we are definitely seeing quite a bit of indications that a La Nina is forming, and I just want to quickly show you what a La Nina looks like for a winter. Now again, this is about fall, so this isn't really applicable to winter, to fall, but notice that we have the blocking high pressure, which I showed you with that warm water, and again, that jet stream gets sent up to the north. We have many different conditions across the United States, but I'm just trying to show you that we are definitely getting towards that. We are definitely have the characteristics for a La Nina winter, so it looks as if the fall will also be getting into the La Nina. But again, I want to make this clear. La Nina impacts on fall versus winter are pretty vastly different. I usually thought that a La Nina fall-winter impacts would be similar. And unfortunately, that's just not true. I wish it was that easy. But I tried looking all over online to see if I could find a La Nina fall impact map like this, and I couldn't, so I had to do my own composite anomaly graph, if you will, on this cool website. So let's take a look at the composite anomalies, and you can see this is from September to December. And you may be wondering what these years are. These years are all La Ninas, and you can see that these are the falls. So these are all the La Ninas that were fall. So you can see that it was pretty consistent. That it was cooler across the northwest. It was actually pretty darn cold across the northwest and really parts of the northern U.S., but also just vastly warm across a good portion of the country. And let me tell you that I looked at this month by month, the September through December outlook, and September was the warmest. October was very warm as well. November got a little bit chillier, so that's why it's a bit cooler right here. That's where that cool is. But really, it seems like early fall will be very warm. Mid fall, it will be a bit less. It'll be more moderate, still on the warmer side, and then late fall it could get cold. But really, it looks as of most fall. You can see this is the overall September through December time frame. It's going to be rather warm for much of the United States. So unfortunately, if you are watching this video and you were hoping for, cold weather across the Midwest or Northeast or South, it looks as if this fall will be unfortunately warm. And if you were to look at parts of the Northwest, really Montana, Washington, Idaho, those locations do have a pretty good shot of seeing cooler temperatures. And I wouldn't be surprised. It really depends on many other factors, whether or not this cold air gets a little bit further south, into parts of Colorado, maybe Nebraska, Minnesota, but on average, this is how far it gets with a La Nina fall. Now, let's look at NOAA's forecast, since, well, first, actually, I went ahead of myself. I wanted to show you the precipitation anomalies. These are, you can see the precipitation anomalies, and this is for the same time frame. You can see a bit wetter across the Northwest, so possibly an early snowstorm, maybe, if it's cold and wet. But again, really limited, generally drier across the eastern and southern U.S., which is a more noticeable feature as it's pretty large in coverage. So, and the rest of the United States is around average, which usually, again, precipitation is the more harder thing to forecast as it has less correlation with certain events. Unlike temperatures where you could literally figure out how the temperatures react based on certain things. And precipitation is a little bit more resilient to that. Let's look at NOAA's outlook finally, and this isn't really their fall outlook, if you will. This is just their 3-month temperature outlook, so September, October, November, and you can see that they have above average chances, a leaning towards above average for 100% of the United States. Now, this may be a bit overdone in terms of the warm temperatures, but again, you can see that where the confidence is the lowest is across the northern U.S. and into portions of even portions of the Great Lakes right here, or the Western Great Lakes. They're showing the biggest heat across the Southwest, the Northeast, in the southeast, and I think that's I'm pretty much full agreement with it. And you can see that they have the I guess the lowest chances, 40% across the northern United States, maybe extending to portions of the south. So definitely something I could definitely stand by. Now let's look at the analogs. So if you recall, right now we at the beginning of this year we had an El Nino, right? And it transitioned into, so January, February was an El Nino, a weak El Nino, but it wasn't El Nino. It transitioned into a neutral pattern, which we are still in right now, and it's forecasted to transition into a La Nina. So we basically got all three in one year. We got from El Nino, neutral, La Nina. I looked at years that have been similar like that, all the way back to 1950. I looked at years that were like that, and I found a few years, right? And I want to show you those years right now. So these are the years that I found that were more similar to this year than just a typical La Nina, with the El Nino neutral to La Nina transition. You could see what I found. Really, I'm glad that I did this, because I was, I guess scared for when I was doing this, because if I found out that this would have something counter, I guess, producing my point, if we had if I were to find out that it would be cold across much of the United States, if it was a El Nino neutral La Nina pattern versus just me showing you La Nina falls, ignoring the earlier rest of the year. I was worried that there may be a different outcome, kind of like counterattacking my point of view. But you could see that really it's basically the same. Colder across the northwest, more limited, and again the warmth is pretty extensive across much of the eastern and northern and western United States. So generally, chances are if you live in the United States, you're going to be under warm conditions this fall. And again, this is strongly supported. Because I also, basically what I did, I looked at these years and I'm like, okay, so they had the same ENSO transition as we have this year, 1983, 1974, 1995, and I wanted to, well, this is the precipitation, you can see, also, and really nothing significant. Wetter across the west, drier across the south, again, tougher to predict. But I wanted to see if it was comparable to this year, and I looked at their Julys of those years, those same years, and I looked at how the Julys compared to this July. Look at the July of all these years. Very hot across much of the northern, especially northern United States. A bit cooler across the northwest. And if you were to look at this year's July graph, which I don't have right now with me, but I looked at it on the composite anomalies, it was basically very similar to this. So, everything is starting to line up, and it looks as if everything is supporting the fact that this fall is looking pretty warm. And you can see that the Julys, usually when we had the same ENSO transition pattern, Julys tend to be warm. We had a warm July this year. We had a cooler area across the northwest during these years. This year we also had a cooler area across the northwest. And I also wanted to take this one step further, and I wanted to see how the earlier part of the year looked, whether or not it was cool. Because remember, April and March was cool. And look what I found. April and March were also cool for these years. So just everything is lining up perfectly with this. And that's why it leads me to think very strongly that this fall will be rather warm, and especially September and October will just be, borderline hot across a good portion of the United States. So now I want to show you my final temperature outlook. Notice I have a area of cooler temperatures across the northwest, and really it's limited to the northwestern United States. And let me tell you that if this is a bit optimistic for the cool weather for the northwest, for this U.S. I think that the cold weather may go only as far as, say, this right here. And anything north of that may be cold, and here it just might be warm, because I went pretty optimistic on this, because again, each year is slightly different, and we have been having indications of some cooler air coming in. Right now across the Midwest, it's 60s and 70s. So if that happens a couple of times, we may get a bit chillier across a greater area of region, greater extent of region. But again, just look how much I put in a yellow and orange. I really think this year is going to be warm. California, Nevada, all the Southwest, all the South, the Mid-Atlantic, the Great Lakes, even portions of Wisconsin and Michigan. I think Northern Michigan may get into the warm weather, and I put in the Northeast as well into the warm weather. So again, the further north and west you go this year, I guess the higher chance you have of a cooler fall. But again, unfortunately for the weather lovers, the cold weather lovers, I should specify, this fall does not look awfully cold, and it looks, especially the beginning part. By November, it may get cold. But October, November, or October, September, and August just look, August is still summer, but September and October just look very warm, and I would say even the first half of November looks warm. By December, though, things could start getting very, very interesting, to say the least. So that's basically it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Consider liking the video, consider subscribing to this channel. I'll catch you all guys in the next episode. See ya. Bye.